Hello Python programming students, welcome back. This is Mr. Mace again with another edition of our Mission Python project. We're going to be looking at Chapter 2 in this particular video. It may be divided up into two parts, so this is Part 1. We're going to look at pages 33 through 41 in the book. So Lists Can Save Your Life is the title of Chapter 2. And so if you look at the intro there, astronauts live by lists. The safety checklists they use will help make sure all systems are working before they entrust their lives to those systems. For example, emergency checklists tell the astronauts what to do in dire situations to prevent them from panicking. Procedural checklists confirm that they're using their equipment correctly so nothing breaks and prevents them from returning home. These lists just might save their lives one day. So as you might expect, we are going to be looking at the concept of a list in Python. Everything in this chapter is going to be reviewed for the most part, except for one of the lists you're going to look at, which is actually going to be a two-dimensional list, a list of lists. Now, we talked briefly about that in class and looked at an example, and so we're going to hit that and see that because generally in game development you can use a two-dimensional list in Python or a two-dimensional array in other programming languages in order to create your game board if you want your game board based on a grid type. And so in this case it's going to introduce the concept of lists. There's not going to be a lot of code that we're going to write, so let's go ahead and get started. So you have a making your first list, the takeoff checklist. So these first few pages through page 41, you're actually going to be working in the shell. So again, as you're going through this chapter, make sure that you enter these commands in the shell, even though you have already done it before, just to kind of review. And this is also a good review for those of you still getting ready to take the certification exam. So you have some other commands there. See in your list, how do I print a list, adding and removing items to your list. Again, pay attention to the red alerts. Using index numbers, remember the first item in the list starts with index 0. Index 0, and the last item in the list has an index number that is 1 less than the total number of items in the list. How do we access an individual item in our list? Replacing an item, deleting an item, and then again, the training missions are an opportunity for you to practice what you learned in that particular chapter. So go ahead and complete training mission number 1 on your own and see if you can do well there. And then you have creating the spacewalk checklist. So here is the spacewalk checklist, and then another training mission, and then a list of lists. And so a list of lists is basically what it says. It's a list that is composed of lists. And so one way you could do that is say, hey, I've got my flight manual, and my flight manual is a series of lists, the takeoff checklist as well as the spacewalk checklist. And so I can access those items. That's what it would look like if I print out my flight manual. I'd have all those items in each individual list in its own lists. Notice the brackets, the inside brackets that start and end each list within the list. Then you have another red alert. All right. And then it gives you some syntax, way the print looks. The first item in the flight manual list is the list of the takeoff checklist, the first checklist. All right, another training mission. And how do you find a particular item in the flight list? So if you want to go to a particular item in the takeoff list, is 0 something, whatever that item is. If you want to go to a particular item in the spacewalk checklist, it would be 1. And then the next brackets would be whatever item you're looking for in that particular checklist. Pay attention to this tip right here. This is very important in Python lists, especially two-dimensional lists. Down here it talks about combining lists using the plus sign. Remember, adding one list to another. We looked in the classroom with the plus sign and the extend command, the extend function. So remember the differences between those two. So this actually just makes a new list called skills list that is a combination of the takeoff list checklist plus the spacewalk checklist. And then finally, in this video, on page 41, go down to making maps from lists the emergency room. So we're going to stop this video right here in this section. So make sure you complete these activities in this section. And then the next video will help us continue with the rest of Chapter 2 in Part 2. All right, hope you're enjoying your Code Space Adventure so far, and we'll see you next time.